Hey, welcome to another episode of AWS Cloud Bytes. I'm your host, Bhavesh Kumar. I'm a certified AWS Solutions Architect professional and a DevOps engineer professional. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and click the notification bell icon. As usual, the agenda is to check out AWS news and solve some questions. Today's focus will be on understanding questions suitable for AWS Cloud Practitioner. Let's talk about some updates in the AWS world. Let's talk about AWS Snowcone. AWS Snowcone is a Snow family appliance that has been launched recently. It has been launched in Asia Pacific, Europe, Frankfurt, Ireland, US East North Virginia, US West Oregon regions. It is the smallest appliance in the Snow family with edge computing enabled. It has edge storage, and it is one of the most portable device that is available under the Snow family. It is rugged and secure. It's lightweight to fit in a backpack and can withstand harsh environments. Snowcone allows you to do a lot of stuff in a remote location or edge location computing. So if you see, it comes with data sync pre-installed, and using that you can move your data online to and from Amazon S3, EFS, FXX for Windows file server, as well as between AWS storage services. You can look at the documentation at this link, AWS Snowcone. You can find benefits over here like security, portable edge computing, withstand harsh environment. It works with IoT sensors. If you look into this, it supports both connected wired connectivity, local compute. Um, it can act as an IoT hub, data aggregation point, application monitor, or a lightweight analytical engine. That is another thing. You can use a regular power cord, or it can run off battery, and it can be on a plane or an autonomous vehicle. It can be attached to a drone. This is how it works. You can actually go to the AWS Snowball console and create a job. AWS sends that device to you. You can prepare the device. You can mount your NFS file share and start your EC2 instances to process data. Optionally, you can do data sync for an online to and fro data transfer. Once it is done, you can shut it down, send the device back. That can be synced again. So that's it all about AWS Snowcone. Okay, let's talk about the new development in S3. So S3 has this new thing called S3 Object Lambda. What problem does it solve, or what benefit this is going to give us? Suppose you have two different consumers or two different applications looking for a data that is hosted in S3, or some file that is hosted in S3, or some kind of object. So what you can do is you can associate a Lambda with the GET request. Anytime there is a GET request, Lambda can transform based on who is requesting, what application is requesting, and it can transform it to the format that particular application is requesting, or change the data to suit the consumer. Or you can have some data like you want to have a grid or a CSV file that has a lot of data, but you want only application 2 to have all the columns or all the information that is available in that CSV file, while you want application X to just have maybe couple of attributes in that particular CSV file. It can be very well done using this Lambda. This is pretty easy to invoke the Lambda. You can just configure that Lambda from AWS Management Console, and I'm really excited by this development, which can allow me to do things to the response object, to the get response of S3, rather than hosting another application that can transform based on the consumer requirement. So this is pretty good. Okay, so the next news is around Amazon Elasticsearch service. Amazon has announced an auto-tune feature that will improve performance and application availability. Anybody who has worked with the application, Elasticsearch application in a managed or non-managed environment, the biggest problem they might have solved would have been around memory issues when you have some kind of data ingestion, when you're loading a lot of indexes, building and loading indexes. You have memory spikes, and those memory spikes sometimes need tuning. As you know, Elasticsearch runs in a JVM, and what Amazon is offering over here is to auto-tune that memory space, which will help us in at least running the application in the optimal way. And I believe anybody consuming Elasticsearch service, AWS Elasticsearch service um, in production would get a lot of relief based on the feature, because it will not only improve the performance, but also it will make the application available. So I think it is a great feature, great enhancement on Elasticsearch service. You should look into the details, going through the documentation over here. Yep. In this section, we are going to solve some AWS questions. Let's try to understand the context and find some right answers. Question. As a solutions architect, you need to design a storage solution for summarized global sales reports. The reports are available in a CSV format. The data is analyzed infrequently and is discarded after 30 days. Which of the below given option will be the most cost effective in meeting these requirements? So a couple of things to note over here. We have to design a solution. The report is in CSV format. Data is analyzed infrequently and discarded after 30 days. So we don't have to analyze data on a frequent basis, and it has to be discarded in 30 days. So first option over here is AWS Data Pipeline. AWS Data Pipeline, we can look at all the options. I can give you, you can pause the video if you want and try to find an option. But the way I'm going to approach is I'm going to discard options that doesn't fit over here. So AWS Data Pipeline is to import logs. Use AWS Data Pipeline to import logs into a DynamoDB table. First of all, we don't need to store this data. It has to be discarded in 30 days. And this is not a good storage solution, and there is no analytics available here, so I can discard that. A Redshift cluster, import logs to a Redshift cluster. Redshift cluster is good for it can have a data warehouse where you can do analytics, but it is going to be not cost effective. So it is not cost effective because that is looking for most cost effective. So we cannot remove this right now. Well, let's look at other options. This one, let's say write the files to an S3 bucket. Log files can be dropped to S3 bucket, and you can use Amazon Athena. So if you know Amazon Athena, you can query S3 bucket directly by using Amazon Athena. So this is one of the favorite options till now. It is going to be cost effective than a Redshift cluster. The next one is logs into a SQL and then query. This is going to be too much work and not cost effective, so this can be discarded too. So for this particular question, I would go with option C, where you can write the file, copy the files to S3 bucket and use Amazon Athena to query that data. Now this question is about a company is running multi-tier web application farm in a virtual private cloud that is not connected to their corporate networks. It is not connected. So one thing to note is it is not connected to their corporate network. They're connecting to VPC over the internet. So VPC is connected using the internet to manage their EC2 instances running in a public and private subnet. So they have two different kind of subnets. So if you know, public is something that you can connect using internet, and the private subnet is something that is not accessible by internet. And so this is an internal, this is external facing. Company has authorized a Bastion security group with Microsoft RDP. Remember the protocol over here. It can be SSH or RDP. If it is SSH, you cannot use a Microsoft RDP on a Linux box. So remember, if it is RDP and it is a Linux, then that option might not be the right option. SSH is okay on the newer versions of Microsoft with RDP. Okay, so let's go over here to access the application instance security group. Company wants to further limit, they want to further restrict on administrative access to all instances in the VPC. Um, to all instances in the VPC. Which of the following Bastion deployment scenario will meet this requirement? So they want to have a Bastion host, and they are asking where exactly, public or private, which subnet you want the Bastion host to be. There are options here. You can pause the video and read through these options and try to find which one will be the best option. Meanwhile, I will continue reading over here. So the correct option we're going to discuss later, but let's read through these options. Deploy a window Bastion host on a corporate network that has RDP access to all instances in the VPC. First of all, this is on the corporate network, and corporate network um, is not connected um, to the VPC. Having a Windows Bastion host on corporate network doesn't give you RDP access to all instances. So this is something I can discard without thinking twice. Deploy a Windows Bastion host with a auto-assigned public IP in public subnet. So we have access to public subnet um, when we try to reach instances sitting in the public subnet. So this looks suitable. Allow RDP access to the Bastion host from corporate public IP address, and this further restricts down the access to this Bastion host. So if you say I have a SSH or RDP access, it can be further trimmed down by allowing only these IPs to basically have the SSH access using the NACL. You can reduce that risk opening that routes. So this may be one of the option. It is giving you a public IP address for the Bastion host, and it is sitting in the public subnet, while only the corporate IP, public IP addresses are allowed in this particular subnet. Now let's go to the next one, which is deploy Bastion host, window Bastion host, an Elastic IP address in the public subnet, allow SSH. Now SSH is not allowed with Windows, so this will be gone. Deploy, we need an RDP access, so SSH is not the suitable option. Now deploy a Windows Bastion host with the public IP address in the private subnet. So basically in the private subnet, this one should be ruled out, just because anything sitting in the private subnet is not available publicly, and you have to go to the public subnet. In many places, Bastion host is also called jump box. So you have to go to a jump box kind of a instance that is running in the public subnet in order to go to the Bastion host. That defeats the purpose. So this one is also not good. For this particular question, option B is the right answer. Okay. Your company has a new document server on its AWS VPC. The company has identified 3 clients for granting access to the document server. These clients also have VPC on AWS, and it is through these VPC they will access the document server. Each of the clients should not have access to any other client's VPC. Choose the correct answer from the below given options. So they have a document server um, in their VPC, and they have 3 clients. All 3 clients basically need to have access to these document servers. The clients also have their VPC on AWS, and through these VPC they want to access it. One key point over here is they should not have access to each other VPC. So again, moving on to these options. Um, so if you look at the box, this is the document server, and then this is client 1, client 2, and client 3. They want to access document server, but they don't want to access each other. So there is a requirement that we have to restrict these kind of accesses um, through the document server. Now, if you're preparing, you must have read something about Vpc pairing. So you can pause the video and try to choose an answer over here. Um, in the meanwhile, I'll move forward and read through all these options. So set up VPC pairing through your company's VPC to each of the client's VPC, but block the IPs from the CIDR of client's VPC to deny access to each other. First of all, this is not needed if you know VPC pairing. If A has access to B and B has access to C, doesn't mean A has access to C. So that doesn't work. So machine A has access to B and B has access to C. Doesn't mean there is no transitive or there is no way A can go through B and reach to C. So this is something that we can discard. Second option is set up VPC pairing between your company's VPC and each of the client's VPC. Each of the client should have done VPC pairing setup between each other to speed up access time. This is an option where this is a reverse or something that each of the clients should have VPC pairing set up between each other. We don't want to have it, so that's why we can discard this option. The requirement is not have access rather than having access. The third one is regarding set up the VPC pairing between your company's VPC and each of the client's VPC. This is the only thing that we have to do. So you look at the fourth one, set up all the VPCs with the same CIDR, but your company's VPC as a centralized VPC. We will have issues in this. Okay, this option over here, the option D, we can discard this one just because same CIDR block will have issues. We cannot have overlapping CIDR blocks when we are doing VPC pairing. So VPC having the same CIDR cannot be paired. That's why this is discarded. For this particular question, option C is the answer. This is the end of the show. Thank you for watching. Please click subscribe button and press the bell icon for notification on new episodes. This is your host Bhavesh Kumar signing off. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.